have a very special video for you today. If you've been wanting to start over in a new career, or maybe you've just been wanting to live your bigger purpose, but haven't been getting momentum or traction in living your greater purpose, you're not going to want to miss today's video. Today, I'm introducing you to a remarkable woman, Deanna Turner, who after 43 years in a successful banking career, decided to start over in a brand new career as a life, business, and career coach. She's going to share with us exactly how she pivoted so radically to a completely different business, how she succeeded, and some tips to start over in your own career, in your own life. And Deanna, thank you so much for being here.
It is my pleasure. Thank you, Veronica.
You were in your banking career, and then you came to the coach training program, the Diamond Process Coach Training Program, with a very specific plan that you were going to retire in a certain amount of years. I think it was 2 years. And then once you retired, build your practice, etc. So you had these signposts of like the coach training, and then you were going to get, your first client. The thing that's unique about you is you actually followed through with the plan. And I know this is something people struggle with. So could you tell us a little bit about your story? Once you had that spark in you to become a coach, what did you do with that? Because you were in this career that was very safe and stable.
I love this question. And it started before that. I wasn't sure what I wanted to do. So I had a friend who at one point said, Deanna, have you ever hired a personal coach? And I'd heard about personal coaches, but I'd really never taken that step. So my husband retired 3 years prior to me retiring. And I knew at that time I needed to make a plan, because it's really difficult to continue working when your spouse doesn't have to anymore. So I thought, in order for me to be able to retire early, I need a plan. I want to do something else. I'm not finished yet. I still want to contribute to this world, but I didn't know what that was. So I discovered that through a coach. And in that process, it was an aha moment. One day when I was sitting with my coach, I said, I think I realize what I want to do now. And she was very shocked, because I was scattered all over the place up to this point. And I said, I want to do what you're doing. And so that's how that sparked. I fell in love with what she was doing for me, which was more accountability than anything.
Yeah.
And so that was the point where I set the sail to say, okay, this is what I want to do. Now, what do I need to do to get there before I retire? Because I needed my business to help finance that process.
I love what you just said, because a lot of people think they have to jump ship from their current business or their current work and just burn the bridges, as they say, and just dive into this work, and then they flail. And for some people it works. It's a small percentage, but for some people that works. So you're saying that you looked at it as it's almost like they were the investors of your new business.
Exactly. And being in banking, I was in banking for 40 some years. I've watched businesses, and this is the mistake they make. Somebody has a passion. They want to do this, whatever the passion is. They quit what they're doing to move into their passion without creating a plan. And that is where you end up failing. I watched it throughout my career. And I often say banking was so good for me, because I learned so many valuable lessons of what to do and what not to do. And this was a big part of it. Business fails most often because the owner doesn't have a plan starting out.
Okay, can we just write that down? Businesses fail most of the time because they do not have a plan. So today, if we could dive into a bit of that, first of all, were you always good at this? Like when you started your banking career, did you always have business skills and planning skills?
Oh goodness, no, I was 19. I knew nothing. I was a teller, and at that point, it was a job. I knew I was going to be a mom, and I wanted weekends and holidays off. That was why I got into banking.
Wow.
And, but no, it was something that I learned, way back in the day. I studied Stephen Covey's 7 Habits of Highly Effective People.
Yeah.
That's where it all began for me, to develop some really strong discipline habits around planning and living a life of intention rather than just letting it happen all of the time. And that has just helped me over the years, and it's been years in the making. This did not happen overnight by any means, but it definitely stemmed from just paying attention in banking, but also just constantly trying to learn what do the successful people do
Mhm.
and watching. And I had a really great viewpoint in a bank. I could see the wealthy and what the wealthy people did, and I could see the not so wealthy and what they were doing. And
Yeah.
I just took bits and pieces from that.
So not having a plan, the biggest mistake, and not leading with intention, just letting life happen and kind of reacting to life rather than creating life is the biggest mistake.
Yes.
So how does somebody, because there are a lot of people watching, I'm sure highly creative people like myself who are like, that sounds great having a plan, but every time I set a plan, it just it falls away or I don't stick to it. Did you have a key? Because I mean, we were blown away in the coach training program watching you. Like you'd be posting in the Facebook group, like, you guys, you like, I hit the next signpost, and you had this specific plan. And it was very inspiring. So how did you ever feel like, God, I just want to give up, or doubting yourself,
Oh,
or
the doubting yourself, that imposter syndrome hits everybody. It still hits me today. I mean, it's like, who am I to think I can really make money doing this? And I'm making money doing it, which is
yeah,
really, really cool.
yeah,
But I think that it's just, it's discipline, Veronica. It's just that discipline of, even if things aren't working the way that you think they should be working, it's taking a step back. I often say sometimes you have to slow down to speed up.
mm,
And so taking a step away from it and then relook at your plan and say, okay, what is off? What is not working? A plan isn't something that's etched in stone. It's a roadmap. And sometimes you have to veer off the road for a minute,
yeah,
but then get back on track with where you feel you can make the most impact, what is going to serve you the best at that moment. But through the coaching program, I developed even stronger discipline around planning, where I sit down on Sunday evening and I map out my week so that I know what I need to be doing, where I need to be, what I need to be wearing, because every day is different. Some days I can wear sweats and just be here, but other days I'm traveling and I need to go and be at a university where I need to look like I belong there, right?
yeah. I love
So,
that you even include the clothing you wear
oh,
to feel to have that much organization.
oh, I almost to an nth degree for me, but it has served me so well, because I'm always prepared. I know where I'm going. I know what time I need to be there. I know what I need to be presenting, and I know how I need to appear. And
Yeah.
so it's the planning piece is so huge because it's everything. It's everything from what we're talking about now to the finance piece to all of it.
Yeah, God, I have questions about money and finance. First, if you just imagine someone watching this right now, they're in the job that they no longer want to be in. They're hearing you speak about a plan and they're just like, wow, how do I even create a plan if I'm not even sure what it is I want, what the new career is that I want?
I
What could,
say the first thing is find a coach, because
mm,
a coach will help to ask the questions that will help to get your mind working in ways that you can discover where it is that you want to go. Where is it that you want to serve this world and make money doing it? And there's millions of things that can be done. And I'm watching it happen daily, right?
yeah,
But that coach will help you to find your path, find whatever it is that builds that is that passion inside of you, that it doesn't feel like work.
yeah,
And then they will also help you to create a plan around what do you need to do to get there. You go to the experts. For me, I was just so convenient because I decided to get into coaching when I was working with a coach. So she could tell me, these are some books that you can read. These are some things that you need to be taken care of. But planning is really just taking it one baby step at a time and creating some action steps around that one piece, whether it's the business or finances, and then just building step by step what you need to do to accomplish your goal.
I love that you're saying this because people, like, it took you, you were really like in the coach training program, you still, even after you were certified, you stayed in banking until you had a certain, like, I think it was 2 years or 1 year after.
I intentionally retired on my 10-year anniversary. That was part of my coaching. My coach said, you need a date. And it's
Yes.
like, oh my gosh, I've got to have a date. What date? And so I looked out 3 years and said, all right, it makes perfect sense. I'm retiring on my 10-year anniversary. And that's
Okay.
what happened.
Everyone hear this. So she wasn't like set a date a month from now. Like she said 3 years. Okay. You
Mhm,
said 3 years. And
mhm.
then you broke it down into signposts, like certain goalposts, I mean, along the way to get to that 3 year retirement date. A
Yeah.
personal question. How did
Yes.
it feel to do it, to retire and
It's so absolutely perfect, and it feels so liberating and freeing because my time is now mine. um but what and an accomplishment in itself, because although I just celebrated a birthday, I'm 62 years old, so I retired early, so I had to plan how I was going to finance my retirement because I no longer have that really, really handsome paycheck that I let go. But I didn't let that stop my progress of wanting to get out of there. I was exhausted. I was working so hard,
yeah.
working so many hours, sacrificing so much on my own that
Mhm.
now it's just like I have not looked back, Veronica. I have just looked forward and just really, really enjoyed diving into my business and figuring out where it's taken me next,
Yeah.
because it does not look like what I thought it was going to look like when I started your program at all. At
Wow. Okay. Can you say a little more about that? Like, what in your
all.
mind when you started the Diamond Process Coach training? What was like what were you seeing? And then what is your coaching business now?
I was really seeing that I was going to be working with individuals and that my audience would be the people that I worked with. I had 1,500 team members at the credit union that I left. And I worked really hard on capturing their email addresses because I just knew that that was going to be my audience. That was going to be my paying clients. And it turned out that the universe is asking me to be a presenter in larger groups. And right now, I have a contract with one of the community colleges in Idaho, where I'm working with their workforce development team to teach them how to be a team and to
Mm.
build some culture within their organization
Wow.
and helping them develop programs. And so the work keeps coming, and I'm just going with wherever the work is, wherever the universe is pointing me. And right now it's with groups, and I'm loving it. It just really underscores what we learned in the coaching training, which was your business is going to change. Just go with where people are calling you. Pay
Yeah.
attention to what people are asking you for and
Mhm.
go in that direction. What that offers me is the ability to really enjoy what I'm doing. And now that that is paying basically my salary at a much lower level than what I was making in the banking world, but that's okay.
Yeah.
I find myself not needing to work so hard to try to get individual clients because this is being taken care of this other way. I'm still working on that, but it's not where my full focus has to be. I'm just working and doing what is coming to me, which is lovely.
It's amazing. Are you taking new clients, like private
Yes.
one-to-ones? Okay.
Yes,
And
but
most of
on a
your
on a
career,
limited basis, just because I don't want a full-time job.
right.
And
And
it's
you
like
have
this.
that power. Isn't that
Yes,
amazing?
yes,
You create your own
yes.
schedule, you have your own financial freedom, time freedom, location freedom.
Yeah.
It's really beautiful. So I do have a question about money. Money can be such an obstacle for people. And so what in people's first year of business, what's the number one key to making a difference in your bank account in the first year of business?
This is an interesting question that goes back to the planning part. And
Mm,
I think that it's so crucial that you understand that getting into business isn't free. There are a lot of expenses to it, not the least being your time, because
mm,
it takes a ton of time. So I really encourage people that before they make a leap from wherever their income is right now, make a plan so that your current income can support you getting into business.
mm.
Because unless you have a really, really healthy savings account that can finance this for you for the first year,
Yeah.
it's going to, it will definitely strain you because
Mhm.
it does cost to be in business. And I think that people make mistakes. And this was an aha moment during coaching as well. I'm blessed. I had 43 years in banking. When we got to the financial part of coaching in that training, and I
Yeah.
saw faces like, what do you mean I have to do this too? It's like how blessed I was to already know what I needed to do for that piece. I had my system structured. I knew if your money starts flowing, you need places for it to go. You've got stuff you need to do now,
Yes.
right?
Yeah.
So that was an aha for me. And I stopped and thought maybe that's the direction I should go, is to teach people the finance part of that. And I thought,
Mhm.
no, that doesn't sound like a whole lot of fun. So I quickly diverted back,
Mm.
because you do get you get to the point to where you want to go in a lot of different ways, but you just have to stay with what you're being called to. But definitely create a plan. You've
Mm.
got to have a plan, and not just a business plan, but a financial plan. You need to understand what this is going to cost you, because there is cost to it.
Mhm.
And if you can, use your existing business, your existing employment to help finance at least the first, I would say no less than 6 months.
Mhm.
I had the advantage of 3 years, but I used that, man. And I put money away in savings because I knew that my paycheck was going away. And
Yeah.
I didn't know how long it was going to take before I was going to see income from this. And it took, my first contract came. So I started the training in 2020.
Yeah.
My first contract came in November of 2021.
Wow. Okay. So that's amazing, because that's a year,
Yes.
basically, exactly a year from graduation
Yep.
to amazing to hear this. So, to those people out there who are really burnt out, because you were exhausted, right? And you're working so much. Did it help to have knowing that you were going to leave in 3 years? That, like, did it help to know you had a plan? Did that
Yes,
contribute to your
it
follow-through?
was the light at the end of the tunnel, all but so tiny, right? I just knew there was going to be an end to it,
Yeah.
and I was controlling it. I mean, I think that's the most important thing, is that you get to control that. You get to own that. And when it's yours and you know that you are working towards something that is going to free you, because
Mhm.
now I work less than 3 days a week. That's pretty much my schedule.
Can we
And
say hallelujah to that? That
Mhm.
is such a breath
I
of
love it.
fresh air. That's a new
And
paradigm.
it is, and the work that I do, I love doing. I mean, it just gives me energy, and I just absolutely love it. So, yes, in the beginning, when I was putting this plan together and working a very, very demanding full-time VP job of a business department, I had to come home and work in my business. It was like I had two full-time jobs.
Yeah.
And so it was grueling there for a while, and I was tired, and there were nights that I didn't feel like doing it, and I didn't. But I just
Mhm.
knew I had to get back to it, because if I didn't, my goal was not going to be accomplished. And I'm telling you, I did not want to have to extend that retirement date. That was my date. And I told my boss, I gave them a 2-year notice.
Hmm.
And 4 months now, I've been retired, and they still have not replaced my position.
Well, you're not replaceable.
Well,
That's
I
the
think that
issue.
it was a perfect storm. I mean, our economy and just the
Yeah.
state of our world right now is not helping anything at all
Yeah. Yeah.
either. But it's not my problem, right?
Yeah.
I gave them plenty of time, but knowing that I had something planned, and I made a lot of well, not enemies, but I didn't make people happy, because I had a countdown, man. Every month that went by, I counted down and I said, I've got 6 months to go. And I just really focused on that date, and I didn't let it out of my mind. And on that date, I was done. And again, I haven't looked back. I miss the people. I don't miss the work. And
Yeah.
I'm loving what I'm doing now. It's like the most rewarding thing ever to be able to say that I created something, particularly to allow myself to retire a little bit early and enjoy my life now after working so hard,
Mm.
and
Wow.
inspire other people to do what they want to do, what lights them up.
For everyone listening, 3 years from now, do you want to be like just on default, creating more of what's already happening, more of the burnout, more of the exhaustion, more of the low like bank account or whatever the case may be, or working with people you feel like you have to, or else they're going to get upset if you don't? Or do you want to have, I'm almost seeing a date on the wall. Like, I don't know if you did this, but like have a poster board on the wall with the date, a constant reminder, the countdown of that, and create your reality in that direction of that very clear goal on that very clear date. And I love that it was 3 years, because we all have that ability right now to choose a date 2 years out, 3 years out, and go, wow, I have this interview is not coming to you who are watching by mistake. This is coming to you because this is what you are ready to hear. And this one thing can change your life. Create a date. It can be 2 years from now, 3 years from now, a year from now, whatever you choose. And as Deanna is so beautifully saying again and again, so I hope it's seeping in, is to create a plan. Hire a coach, find a coach to support you, or whoever that person is, who you can be held accountable to that date. It's so important for everyone that this new career that you're planning for your life or opening up to, if you don't know what it is yet, let it be fun, let it be inspiring, let it be energizing for your body and your soul. If someone is interested in coaching as their career, like they want to coach or they want to help people in some way, what are the first 3 steps you would suggest a new coach taking? Like, what would be, yeah, those first 3 steps, or even that first 1 or 2 steps?
Well, you've heard me say it a billion times. You've got to make a plan, right? You've got
A
to make a plan.
plan.
And the plan is it, I looked back on mine today, and actually it was more of a goal setting thing. And there were milestones I wanted to hit, which was part business and part pleasure and part physical, fitness and that type of thing. But make a plan. And if I mean, there are millions of resources out there on the web. So if you can't afford a coach right away, go out and look for a plan template, just how to create a plan,
Mm.
right? Because there are so many simple ways you can get started. And I love the term baby steps. Just remember, all of this happens over years of time, but it's one tiny step at a time.
Yeah.
And so each day, if you just take one tiny step toward where you're trying to go, you will get there. I think that one of the most powerful things that I learned in coaching, Veronica, and you and Jason were so good at teaching us about self-care.
Mm.
And when we talk about self-care, we automatically think about the pampering, the massages, the pedicures, all of that. It goes so much deeper than
So
that.
much.
It's taking care of all 4 of those levels: spiritual, emotional, mental, physical, and making sure that you are in check. Because as a coach, whew, you're going to be coaching and preaching this to other people. And if I just am one that, with the integrity piece is so important to me, that if I'm going to be asking other people to do this,
Yeah.
I better be doing it. I better be modeling it for them. And it is a lot of work. We spent 1/3 of our training on it. And when I saw that, it's like, oh my goodness, this is 2 months of a 6-month program that we're in self-care. Seriously? Now I understand the value of the self-care thing.
I
Because
am I'm so happy to hear this, because I know it's what it differentiates our program. People are like, wait a minute, the first 7 weeks is self-mastery, self-care, all of that, because really it is the foundation. We often say self-mastery is the foundation of masterful coaching, because you're not coaching from here, you're coaching from a lived experience, really working through your own blocks to start the program. So it kind of leads into one more question about this is, and by the way, you're such a beautiful example of self-care. And I remember you would make these videos in the community group, our private group, like you'd had just worked out or something, and you'd make that 2-minute video to inspire us. That's another thing about you that I think is why your plan worked. You're incessantly in this disposition of, yes, self-care so that you're filled up. From that overflow, you are in a leadership, you're in a generosity, you're constantly thinking about sharing the thing that's working for you and imparting that to everybody else. But you do it in a way that's not preachy. You do it in a way that's very joyful and just caring. And it's really beautiful. That's leadership to us. We would often call you the superstar. You're like a superstar, because what you've done is extraordinary in a world that has so many distractions.
It really, I thank you so much for that beautiful compliment. I absolutely do. And you asked for three, and I think that third thing is
Yeah.
discipline, guys.
Mm.
It discipline, 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 and that I've learned that over time. I have a very, very strong discipline and a plan that brings me back to where I'm supposed to be. So I always know where I'm supposed to be. I'm not always there, but I
Yeah.
know where I'm supposed to be. And so I know where I need to get back to in order to get the progress. So thank you for that. I've considered myself very, very blessed. And as I've reflected on our, in preparing for this interview, I'm really proud of myself because I've created this. I've created this blessing of life that I have, because of the planning and the discipline and living life very intentionally. But I learned so much of that in the past 2 years when I went through the coach training.
Mm. One thing that's coming up right now is many people, when they veer from the plan, they beat themselves up. And I don't get that sense from you. What I just heard you say is that you see where you're off track and then you just come back on track. What would you say to someone who is lacking discipline? How can they come back to the discipline, which is a beautiful word, actually? It's disciple, like be the disciple of your own, beautiful life that you're creating.
Yeah, I think that you do that through just building routines and just keeping your eye on the ball. I mean, it's goal setting really at its best, and the plan is just goals written out, right? And so just knowing really what you want. I mean, when you set a goal that really inspires you and it's something that you want deeply, you will find your way back to it. And it's just a matter of building some routines and discipline around how do I get back to that? Is it that you need to schedule some time on a weeknight or weekend evening, just an hour to put a plan, just to look at your plan for next week to say, what do I need to do to
Yeah.
get to where I want to go? It's
Yeah.
just 1 week at a time.
The question is coming in, somebody who is watching this and going, you know what? I'm too old.
Oh. Hmm.
This
I,
one gets
uh,
me, but I'm gonna hear
hmm.
what you have to say because I've heard
Oh
it
my
so
goodness.
many
So
times and it makes me crazy because
oh, and it makes me crazy too. And I think again, I go back to you're only as old as you feel. But I think particularly in the last couple of years, um, age brings wisdom. And I've learned so much through coaching because there are young people trying to break into the coaching thing. And I had an opportunity to visit one of our colleagues from class a couple of weeks ago, helping her discover her enough number. And I just said to her, you are a powerhouse, but where you're at in your world right now and trying to create a business around your niche client, you're still going through that process. You are going to be fantastic at what you do, but you have to remember that you're still going through the process of learning how to live this new life where you want to help guide your niche client to the same thing, but you need to get there first. And that I feel very blessed to be older
yeah.
because I have so much experience behind me. I mean, just the banking thing in itself. With age comes wisdom. And I think that is the most important. And the world needs your wisdom. The world needs your wisdom.
Please write that down. The world needs my wisdom. Own it for yourself. The
Yeah.
world needs my wisdom because there's specific wisdom in each person, right? God, Deanna, there's so much gold in what you're sharing here. for those watching right here, right now, who love what you have shared, and yet they're just in a negative headspace, or they have some challenges in their life and it's bringing them down. They don't feel like they have the energy or the inspiration or the clarity to move. They want to, but they don't believe in their ability right now. What would you say to that person?
Oh, I would say that anything is possible. There is a community out there who needs you,
Mm.
and your wisdom is gold to them. And so understand that it takes a little bit of work to carve out a special place for you in whatever you want to do. But if there's anything that I've learned in my career and working with individuals, it's everybody has value and everybody has some unique talents that you will attract your clientele. If it's coaching or whatever it is that you want to do, you have value, and our world needs people that can see value in others and who can use their gifts to give back to our world. I mean, that really is my purpose. I'm not done serving our world. Our world now more than ever needs us, and they need the baby boomers just as much as they need the millennials, right? They need all of us.
Just being able to listen to another human being is one of the most valuable commodities that we have right now, because we live in such an attention deficit world. If you're somebody who people talk to a lot and they come to and they just kind of pour out their lives, you may not be valuing that as a skill. You might think, I don't have much wisdom. Listening is one of the greatest forms of wisdom that there is, and it's probably something you're already good at. So people pay top dollar to be heard. And sometimes it's really important to realize that the thing that comes so naturally to you is the thing that people need the most, but you might not be valuing it because it just is so easy for you. Do you think, like, if someone wanted to coach, is a certification important, or do you think they could do without it? Like,
Well, I was really amazed when I started digging in and doing my research regarding coaching to find that, at least in Idaho, which is where I am,
yeah.
there is no requirement for any type of formal training. And one interesting thing about me is that I made it through a very demanding career and was very successful, and I don't have a college degree.
Mm.
However, with that, I enabled people to take advantage of me because I don't have a college degree. So I didn't get paid what people with a college degree got paid. I probably had to work harder to prove myself, and I didn't want to have that happen again. I didn't want to try to embark on something without some credentials behind my name. And I really, personally, I just don't even know that I would have been very effective, because there is a very, very distinct process with coaching. And there are times where you need knowledge and the education to help a client through whatever you're coaching them on. Sometimes it takes a left turn and you need to be prepared for that. That was mostly important for me, is to know that I had the credentials, I had put the work in, I had paid for classes,
Mm.
and I'd studied for that entire year to
Yeah.
get those credentials. And I do not regret it. The value that was in that package is beyond,
Mm.
way beyond any money I paid, and the time that I spent. It was so valuable for me. And
Mm.
I would not want to hang a shingle without it. Absolutely not.
Yeah, thank you so much for saying that about you're not having a college degree. That's so incredibly. And meanwhile, you were managing how much money at the banking career? Like you were.
Well, yeah, we built a business department that ended up, and this was in my goal sheet, we ended up hitting $1 billion in deposits. So we were deposit gatherers for businesses in February of 2021, which was my goal, to have that before I retired. We started that department from zero and gained $1 billion in deposits within 10 years.
Wow. Okay. So there you go. A plan, a goal, plan. And taking good care of yourself as you execute that plan is the secret. And the key is who's going to hold you accountable
Yes.
to your plan, your goal, and then the plan that gets you there. Even if your goal right now is just to gain clarity on what that new career is for you, who's going to hold you accountable to the plan
Oh,
to gain that clarity. Wow. Speaking of which, you have a gift. You have a gift that you're
I
giving the
do.
audience, which is so generous.
I do have a gift, and I am making available to this audience a project that I went through when I started embarking on this journey myself, and it's called a bucket list workbook.
Mm.
Basically, what it does is helps you. It takes you through a process of really exploring what are some things that you would love to do in your life, there are a lot of things that it gives you the opportunity to explore. And so you can find that on my website.
And
So
I'll
you
put a
can click,
link below as well.
yeah, if you'll do that, Veronica, that would be wonderful. But it's a great place to start. It just gets your mind flowing to think, what are some things that I would really love to do in this life? But
Mhm.
it's interesting because the very first part of it is it gives you 80 boxes where the 80 boxes, each box represents a year, and you have to mark off all of the years that you've already lived. Well, that whole page was almost gone for me.
Wow, wow,
I
wow,
only had
wow.
20 boxes left, right? So it's a visual to say, oh my gosh, this is how much time I have left to do some things that I want to do. And through that process, that was kind of the very first thing that I did that helped me to just really gain clarity around what direction do I want to go now? What do I want to do with the rest of my life?
Oh my
So
God. Okay. And what's your website in case people are watching this somewhere else and they can't find the link?
it's DeannaTurnerConsulting.com.
Beautiful. And you're also on Instagram,
Yeah.
Facebook, same.
Same name, Deanna Turner Consulting on Instagram and on Facebook. And yes.
Okay, great. Deanna, I am so grateful to you for taking the leap, following your heart. I can't even imagine, first of all, our community who has been so touched by you, so inspired and empowered by you, and all of your clients and everyone who is yet to work with you. The next 20, 30, 40 years of your life, whatever the case may be, I can only imagine the impact. And had you not set the goal, set the plan, got the accountability, and followed through with what was in your heart, and mind you, say no to the people who are trying to lure you off of the plan, off to keep you at your job and to sort of make sure that you didn't do the thing you wanted to do, that you kept going. And that is the massive contribution to our world. Thank you so much. Like on behalf of
Oh,
everyone watching, like you're such an inspiration and you can restart your life at any
oh,
age. Like,
oh, thank you, Veronica. That's really, really my honor to be here and to share my story because it's possible and it's work, but it's not impossible. You can do it one baby step at a time and just, build a plan. And Veronica mentioned it a couple of times, accountability. Find an accountability partner if you don't already have one, or if you don't have a coach, because that it really helps to keep you keep you on track.
yeah, and if people are interested, because when you've found your coach, you're like, oh, I feel safe with this person. Like this person gets me. If there are people watching who are like, Deanna's my coach, I just feel it.
Yes.
What would be their step?
There's step, just reach out to me on my website. You can reach out to me and schedule a discovery session, which is just a free 1 hour session where we'll just explore what it is that you're wanting to do. We'll get to know each other a little bit. And through that interaction, you'll know right away whether or not it's a good fit or whether you want to keep searching and if it is a great fit, then we'll just talk through the next steps from there.
Beautiful. Thank you so
Oh
much,
my
Deanna.
goodness. Such a
And
pleasure, Veronica.
this is such a joy. And to everyone watching, if you got something from this video, from this incredible conversation with Deanna Turner, give this video a thumbs up. We'd love to hear in the comments, are you currently inspired to start a new career? And if so, set your goals down there. Let the community hold you. And we will see you in the next video.